I'm Roger. I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober since October 11th, 1978, which is starting to feel like a long time ago. So the title on this, I don't know if any of you are aware of it or not, the ones of you that are aware, resonance. And what happens is the guy from the retreat calls me and said, I need a bunch of titles. So I have no idea what I meant by resonance. No, I do too. Just kidding. So follow me. If I have two tuning forks and I put them on the board and I hit this tuning fork and it's an A440, it's C, right? And I put it on that board. In a very short while, the other tuning fork's going to start vibrating, right? Resonance. It resonates. The board is the vehicle for the vibration, right? We're doing this with our language. I'm talking, I'm making noise, my vocal cords. The air is the transmitter. It wobbles into your eardrums and your brain figures out what the signal's about. Resonance. So, that's all I got. Good night. Thank you. Merry Christmas. So I was thinking about it in terms of this, How do you resonate? Do you resonate? We resonate all the time. Here's an example of you resonating. You walk into a room and go, ooh, I don't like that. Or someone comes up to you, they're talking to you, and you got that yucky feeling. Don't like that. That's resonance, right? The problem, or the challenge, or both, is I resonate mostly to my own ideas. And where I started was selfish, self-centered fear. Fear and shame. I'm not safe, I'm unlovable, right? From the gate. So that's the world I constructed. And the only stuff I resonated to was that, right? And I was the only metric. So then you get to recovery. How do you like this? How do you resonate to this? We're more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Really? How do you resonate to this? The purpose of the book is to show you precisely how we recovered. How does that feel? It means nothing to me when I'm new. It means nothing. I resonate to this idea. I'm going to try and make it to Friday. I resonate to that idea. I'm going to try and make it to noon. I'm going to try and make it to 3 o'clock. I resonate to that. So, in terms, this frequency, this vibrational thing, another metaphor is a radio. I've got myself set to a certain frequency, and I can only get things that are transmitted on that channel. And my frequency is selfish, self-centered fear. And that's the only channel I get any data through. And then I get here, and you're asking me to switch channels. You're asking me to change the channel. But you're also telling me I'm powerless. Isn't that kind of what do you do with that? Change the channel. Keep coming back. Meeting makers make it. Stick with the winners. Change the channel. None of that means anything to me. The great fact is just this. Deep down, every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. The great fact is just this, that we've tapped into a power and the power has transformed our life. Really? That sounds like a bloody Hallmark card to me when I'm new. I'm interested in how do I get the fire out. My hair's on fire. I need to not drink today. How do I do that? Right? So this process is a process of changing the channel. But you said I'm powerless. So how am I going to change the channel? In the doctor's opinion, he said, you got this funny affinity for alcohol. There's a couple of components to it. One is physical. You have a physical allergy, it produces a phenomenal craving, abnormal response to alcohol. Got it. So what's the solution? Don't do that. Just don't do that. It's not like I'm allergic to pillows, feather pillows, and every time I get on a feather pillow, my eyes swell shut and I can't breathe. I don't go back to feather pillows every 3 months and see if I still have the allergy, right? Kind of a different thing. He said you have the mind. And Jung talked about you have a mind of a chronic alcoholic, and I've never seen a single one recover. I resonate to that. I resonate to that, except I did see a single one recover. I saw my dad recover. And my experience is, can you resonate to this identification? Until you sit with someone and you have that experience, he or she has been where I've been. It says in the book, little or if any progress will be accomplished. How do you resonate to that idea? Is that in your experience? I didn't even know when it was happening. I didn't even know. It was only in retrospect. Oh, the obsession's gone. When did that happen? I have no idea. Abandon yourself to God. I don't think so. But on closer examination, I have a lot of experience with abandonment. I've abandoned everybody and everything I was taught and believed. I've abandoned. There's a, see if I can find this. What was it? What chapter was it in? This might be a waste of time. Do you remember what page we were on Monday night?
27.
Thank you. And here it is.
27.
So listen to this idea. This is after he's having the conversation with Jung, and he's saying, no exceptions, here and there once in a while. People have had what I call vital spiritual experiences. To me, to the doctor, they're phenomenon. Observable, but I can't replicate it. That's exactly what Silkworth saw with Bill. What did Silkworth's version of that was? I don't know what's happened to you, but you better hang on to it. It's better than anything you had before. Same idea. So he goes, these spiritual phenomena appear to be in the nature of huge emotional displacements and rearrangements. Ideas, emotions, and attitudes, which were once the guiding forces of these men and women, are suddenly cast to one side, and a completely new set of conceptions and motives begins to dominate them. He's describing the spiritual awakening, transformation experience, right? Does that not describe drinking? Doesn't it? It's exactly what happened. I took everything that I was taught growing up and I just went, no thank you. I have a new employer. I didn't know what the setup was, but that was the deal. So I'm looking for this experience, this feel. And I can't find it if I don't go to meetings, because that's where it is. That's where you're going to find the sponsor animal. That's where you're going to find other people who've been where you are. Some are going to be further down the road. Some are going to be behind you in time and experience. But that's where you're going to find it. That's where I hear your testimony. And I start to change the channel, unbeknownst to me. I hear your testimony. I hear your testimony. I hear your testimony. And over time, it just wears down my tired little argument. I resonate to this. This will never work for me. And as long as I hold that idea, I will be absolutely correct. It won't work for me. It's Henry Ford's quote. If you think you can, you're right. And if you think you can't, you're right. Because whatever this determines to be the truth, to be real, to be the fact, that's what I'm going with. So I have this construct. The world is not a safe place. Kind of a law of the jungle idea. And it isn't a safe place. It wouldn't be a safe place with me in it. So here's another one. Maybe. Oh, God. So, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, we agnostics, in the beginning of it, it talks about if a mere code of morals, philosophy were sufficient, many of us would recover long ago, and it's setting us up on that idea. But the needed power wasn't there. And then it says this. The main object for the reader is to find the power, and the power will solve your problem. It's singular. Problem. Problem. Singular. I don't resonate to that. I think it's a typo. Well, did you come in here with one problem? Hell no. Right? I got problems everywhere. I don't have like one or two areas that are problematic. They're all problematic. But there's a message there. And the message is there's only one problem, and that's what separates you from God. Oh, that's a problem. I don't resonate to that either because I don't believe in God. It doesn't say you have to believe in God, does it? It says you can choose your own concept. However limited. Choose your own concept. So what's my concept? I'm starting to change my vibration. What's my concept? I don't know. What's your concept? What's your concept? What's your concept? You can only hear that in a meeting. You can't hear that at Starbucks. You can't hear that at the Y. The concept of the Y is I do 10 of these, then I do 10 of these, and then I do 5 of those. Right? That's the concept there. I need a concept for living. Choose your own concept. That sounds wide open, doesn't it? Until the responsibility of that sets on you. What did they just say? Choose your own concept of God. Create your own theology. While you're trying to get to Friday. Right? While you're trying to get to the next meeting. Really? I didn't see it that way, but isn't that what it's saying? Here's another one. Maybe this frequency is better. What are you willing to turn your thinking and your actions towards? What are you willing to turn your thinking and your actions towards? That's the question. What's the answer? How are you? What's your resonance to prayer? I don't have resonance. I have dissonance. How am I going to find out? How do you pray? How do you pray? How do you pray? How do you meditate? What do you read? Do you read in the morning? What do you read? Because I don't read in the morning. Right? And I don't pray. I'm a liar, cheat, and a thief, but that would be hypocritical. Right? It's like, well, it's the truth. Right? That sounds so silly to pray. To what? To your concept. Oh, the concept I don't have. Because I haven't done any work around that. I haven't done any thinking on that, really. I have invested a lot of time in my concept of what is not. What is not God? Why is there no God? Why is there no effective prayer? Because then I get in front of how I prayed, how I was introduced to that idea when I was a boy. And what I can't see is that the idea of prayer isn't the problem. It's I don't have any access to useful prayer. The idea of God is not the problem. God is not the problem. My ideas about God stop me from ever going there. That's the problem. Wrong frequency. Right? When you're sitting in a meeting and you hear someone say something, you go, That's resonance. Right? When you watch people go through their lives, and you can't do this unless you make a commitment to go to the same place on a regular basis, because you won't see anything. My experience was, I went to a different meeting all the time. And it's a great way to maintain your view. Nobody cares about me. No one greeted me. They're not friendly. It's all, they get their little cliques going, you know. That was not their little cliques. It was the sponsor with a couple of their sponsees talking before the meeting and after the meeting. But what do I know? I'm just resonating to my idea. That idea, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. I resonate to that. And I don't know how to see the world different because it's the only way I've ever seen it. It's going to be done for us, but only with our cooperation. And so what we do is we put our thinking through the steps, through those exercises. That's what we do. And along the way, our ideas start to change. They start to evolve. Here's an idea that had to evolve: powerlessness. I don't think there's probably a person in this room that when they were drinking they thought they were powerless. Bulletproof, but not powerless, right? Powerless came into the lexicon after I sobered up and started hanging out with people in meetings. That's also where alcoholism came in the picture. I laugh about it because for me, I didn't become alcoholic till I stopped drinking. And then you taught me what it was, and I'm going, oh, really? I thought I was drinking too much. Right? Here's another frequency that has to change. I have a drinking problem. Well, if you've stopped drinking and that was the problem, you have no problem. Now what do you have? Shit. No. I have a living problem. I heard that all the time in meetings, and it meant nothing. Have a living problem. Well, you'd have a living problem if you had my life too. Right? And then you start examining these ideas, you realize, oh, I created the problem. That's a frequency shift, is it not? I don't want to be the one that created the problem, because I have a lot of time and energy, decades of energy and time invested in this idea that you're my problem. If I would have had different parents, if it would have been different parenting style, if I would have been raised somewhere else, then I created a fantasy about being adopted, Everyone in my family looks like me. It's like, must have adopted all of them. And then I'm serious, this is going to sound silly, but I also considered that perhaps I was an alien. You heartless people. I'm like 8, 9 years old, laying in bed thinking, I might have been put here by another race. I mean, who thinks that shit when they're 8 or 9 years old? Right? I want a DNA test at mailman. We had no DNA test then. Yeah. So I got a lot of things that I don't resonate to. All the things I resonate to are trying to kill me. They're trying to keep me stuck. And if I stay stuck, eventually that alcoholism can reassert itself. It'll let me go to some meetings, but it won't let me change. It'll let me talk to some people, but it'll disqualify all the conversations. It'll let me attend some events, but it won't let me participate in the events. Do you know what I mean? Are you going to attend? Are you going to attend the retreat, or are you going to make a retreat? You're going to attend, or you're going to participate? And I'm always the spectator. I'm always the spectator. It looks like I'm in the meeting because my butt's there in the chair in the circle with the rest of you, but I'm really in the bleachers. I'm watching you do this stuff and struggle with it, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it at all. And I'm telling myself I'm in recovery. I'm telling myself I tried this ANA and it doesn't work. And the truth is what? I never did it. I never did it. Sometimes things are done for you. There's a couple of riffs that just came to mind. You've heard this, some of you have heard this anyway. God won't give you more than you can handle. I hate that. When that's on me, I'm thinking, I wish you didn't have so much faith in me. Back off. Little slack, please. God won't lead you anywhere that God won't keep you safe. Boy, I didn't feel like I was being led. God will do for you what you cannot do for yourself. Anyone have an experience of that? I do. But when it was happening, I didn't have an awareness of it. The last night I drank. It was not my plan to be the last night I drank. And I literally could not swallow. I couldn't swallow. It was coming out my nose. Then I tried to take some pills to offset that, and I couldn't swallow the pills. That was the last night I put anything in my body. And I didn't know it was the last night. I swear to God I didn't know. And my first step sounded like this. I'm done, I'm toast, I can't do this. Now there are places you would go that say, well, you did that wrong. I don't think so. I don't think you can do it wrong. you cannot do it. But however you do it is how you do it for the time and place you're in right then. Worked for me. It would not have worked for a bunch of years. It worked to get me in the door. The next thing that happened that was done for me that I couldn't do for myself was all my favorite vices became neutral. Free drink. I was a musician. I was working in clubs in town, and free drinks, free drugs, and free women. I mean, that's my whole inventory. Everything came out of one or more of those three things on a regular basis and cyclically. But and I had things were being put in front of me, and that wasn't me. It wasn't me. But I was so crazy I couldn't even see it happening at the time. I talk about my dad a lot because I think he's probably why I'm alive. And it was his example. It wasn't his words. He never talked to me about AA or my drinking or drugs or treatment or detox, anything. He just lived recovery. And I could not refute that because I grew up with him and I saw what booze and drugs did to him. And then I saw what AA did to him. So I could sit with all of you whom I don't know and I don't want to know. And I could make up stories about you. How this didn't work and you're a poser and that's fake and you're going to get drunk before the next meeting probably, blah, blah, blah. And, but I couldn't do that with him. I knew there was a way out of this. And here's a shift. The obsession was gone sometime early in the deal. It just was gone. So when I looked back, those three things I just described to you were all done in my mind for me. Because I couldn't get over on it. I couldn't have done that myself. So it was like, God, whatever this power is, said, okay, I'm taking this, I'm taking this, I'm taking this, because you clearly cannot handle that. The rest, I'm sending you people. I'm sending you my people, right? So it was like, God, have me by the ears right here. That's what I'll do for you. Now you do the rest. I'm sending angels. They don't look like angels. They look like World War II vets. They look like Vietnam vets. They look like old people, crabby old ladies. God. They don't look like angels. And every once in a while I want to just go here, and they give me a little spoonful, right? And they never said anything like, what the hell is the matter with you? Why don't you get a sponsor, get that damn book out and do what it said. No one said that at all. They would just go, how you doing? I'm good. This is my stock answer. Doing pretty good except for the spiritual part. And you're laughing because you just resonated. Because it's all spiritual, right? And they knew this poor kid does not have a clue. He is not even on the page. And they didn't say that at all. They just said, you just keep doing what you're doing, you'll be fine, right? They never ever were belligerent. They were never ever shitty to me. But I knew they were looking down on me. I just knew it, because everyone was, right? So now I'm left with what can I do for myself? I've got to change behaviors. But you told me I'm powerless. How am I going to change a behavior if I'm powerless? I'm going to have to practice some other ideas, because my ideas are what for the behavior. I'm not resonating. All action is born in thought. You got this life story. You're the author. You're the author. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want that to be true. Because if that's true, then I have to face down the other big monkey, the shame monkey that says, you're unlovable, you're broken, you're filthy, you're unredeemable, and here's proof. You're wrong. Can't have that. I would literally rather die than say I'm wrong. I almost did. I almost died because I couldn't say I was wrong. Here's the great intervention. After about 18 months of this, sponsoring yourself, anyone done that besides me in the room? Yeah? If they're all going, yeah. Well, saved on gas, yeah. Saved on phone time. I mean, the whole thing. Yeah. All my conversations were great, and they always ended in agreement. So I was having no more of this. I've been to, doesn't work for me. And the truth was what? My one-step program doesn't work. Right? And I see no way out of this mess that I've made or that's been foisted upon me, right? That pile of stuff that's coming into view as you stay sober longer and longer, that stuff that's going to have to be addressed in the restitution, that stuff, that the hurt, the things you've done to people, not one or two, for me, not one or two, everybody that interacted with me got some on them. Everyone didn't get destroyed, but some people got destroyed, but everyone got hurt. And you look at that and you're going, oh no, there's no way. When you're on step 1 and you look at 9 and your head goes, there's absolutely no way. You're right. You're absolutely right. But there's 8 other steps in between there. And if you do those, you're going to be in a different place by the time you get to the 9th step. But if you don't do those, you're right. Insurmountable. I mean, it might as well have been a 20,000-foot glass mountain. No way. So I, after having a series of close conversations with myself, who is the only person who really understands, I decided to blow my brains out. And being that I was this devout atheist, I thought, there's no way for that guy to have a divine intervention or providential experience. Fair? Fair. So this is how what I've come to call God talked to me. I put the gun in the first time, and God said, mighty small caliber, which is disturbing. I pulled the gun out. I'm thinking about it. There'll be a large exit wound. I put it in the second time, and this vignette popped through my head. I went to high school with this kid named Patrick. In 10th grade, Patrick tried to blow his head off with a shotgun, sitting by the bed in his socks and his underwear, and he put the barrel in his mouth, and when he pushed the trigger with his big toe, he moved the stock. And he blew an eye on the side of his face off, and he lived. Had about 16, 18 reconstructive surgeries and hung himself for Christmas at his parents' house a couple years later. That flashed through my, right behind that was this thought. That'll be my luck. I'll pull the trigger, I'll wake up in the hospital paralyzed from the cheekbones down. And old Dave from the Wednesday step meeting will be standing by the bed. Roger, do you want to do the steps now? Blink once for yes, twice for no. It does not sound, my suicide's not going well. And I put it in the third time, and I heard a voice. And the voice said, are you even willing to believe in the possibility? Asked me a question. It's right out of Bill's story that I'd read 1,000 times and got nothing out of it. And at the moment I was about to blow my brains all over the wall, I popped in. I don't know. You know, I reported as I heard a voice. I don't know if it was a voice or not, but it was one of the clearest thoughts I've ever had. There was no noise around it. Just standing right there. And I heard, yep. Yes, I heard yes. And I heard it from somewhere in me that I didn't know existed. You see, the resonance is changing, but I don't have an experience base for it. I'm having these experiences, which are all part of the change in my frequency, if you will, in my tuning. But in one or two of those isolated events, in 18 months of that stuff, I never put that together and said, oh, look at these things that are happening. Look at you're changing. I couldn't see it. I was too crazy. It's only in retrospect done for me what I couldn't do for myself. That did not make me a step machine. Did not make me interested in the big book. What it made me was I can sit in the room now and I'm in a different place. And I sit there in a different place and I can start hearing what you're saying. It starts seeping in the cracks. I don't know it's happening. I don't know it's happening. Your testimony is wearing down my shitty ideas. And I don't know it. Because if I knew you were doing that, I'd fight with you. But it's much subtler than that. It's in the subconscious. It's like water on a rock. At first glance, you go, oh, that rock's much stronger. But then you look at the Grand Canyon and go, well, maybe water has a point. Your testimony is like water on the rock. And the rock is my argument, my closed-mindedness, my hard heart, whatever metaphor you want to use for it. And this was the next thing that happened, which is I've been telling myself I can't do this. I can't do this. And if you tell yourself you can't do it, you don't ever examine it. Because it's not to be examined. You've already made your decision. And I heard myself in the meeting say, I can't do this. I can't do this. And then I heard that other weird voice said, no, it's you won't do it. Now that might not sound like a big deal to anyone in this room. It was huge to me. It was huge because I took ownership of the thing for the first time. I saw it was my belligerence that stopped me in the spiritual experience appendix. It says, most emphatically, we wish to say that anyone capable of honestly, there's a qualifier, facing their problems in the light of our experience can recover. Well, I got a problem with honesty, but that's what it says. And then it says there's a condition. And the condition is you can't close your mind to all spiritual concepts. And then there's another condition. And it says it will guarantee your failure if you keep your shitty attitude in place, your intolerance, your belligerence, your denial. If you keep that in place, that's the only thing that can stop you and me from getting this. Nothing else. That's the only thing. And then it talks about willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness as being indispensable. One of my whole roadblocks to doing any of this were these two principles that I could not access. One was God and one was honesty. I had made my whole survival about being dishonest. I would never tell the truth because the truth did not suit me. We always lie because we think the lie makes us look better than the truth. Or I'm lying because I'm uncomfortable right now and I just need to figure out what you need to hear so you can go, and then I can get the hell out of here. Right? Or you'll ask me to move in. Right? That's the second date. Yeah, right. And what's your last name? No, I love you. No, you're the one for sure. So I have been adjusting, or I have been adjusted. My frequency, my vibrational level, my resonance has been evolving. You know, I can start, the more I start switching, the more I can hear. And I don't think it's because it wasn't there before. I think it's because I literally couldn't hear it because of where I was at. I think it's been the same for 80 years. It's the same thing. We sit down and we tell each other, this is what I was like, this is what happened, this is what I'm like now. You want this? I can show you how to do it. You want Buddhism in 12 steps? I can't help you with that. You want Calyx? You want Catholicism in 12 steps? I can't help you with that. But if you want to do this, I can really help you with that. Because that's really helped me, and I have some insight. And I have some experience. And I have two kinds of experience. What has worked and what didn't. And I have much more of what didn't work than what did. And that in the early years did not feel like a blessing. It felt like a curse. It felt like punishment. It's gold now. Because I can sit down with a guy that I'm working with and I can say, I hear you're thinking. Let me tell you, this is how I thought too. And then let me tell you the things that rolled out of that. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I did and what I found. Just FYI, you know, and I can't tell you how many guys I work with that go, hey, you were nuts, weren't you? I said, yes, I was. He said, I won't be doing that. What am I supposed to do again? Tell me one more time. Right? And there's a few guys I have that can't hear anything. Nothing. And you talk and you talk and you talk and they go, yeah. That looks like resonance, doesn't it? Yeah. And here comes the break. But, see, you just resonated to the but. Everyone knows about the butt. Not the one you're sitting on. The other one, the one that disqualifies everything that preceded it. Every day is the day I must bring the vision of God's will into all my activities. How do I resonate to that? I don't have a clue what that means at 6 months of the year. I begin to get a clue a few years in, right? I begin to get a clue. You know when I started to get clues that I was aware of? When I became consciously seeking not God, but a different way to live. And I kept hearing this over and over and over. It's in the book. It's in the book. I hated that. The other one I hated was this. The answer to every problem you're ever going to have is in that book. And I thought, you clearly don't have the kind of problems I have, buddy. But what is the harmonic in that is this. We are the creator of our problems. The selfish, self-centered fear is the genesis, is where all this starts. And it comes out of that. When the starting point is different and it's changed, I get different outcomes. It's not a miracle. It's a process. It's a promise. If you can tune your thinking to these other principles, instead of operating on resentment and fear and anger and manipulation and depression and loneliness and isolation and hurtful behaviors and all that shit, instead of operating that, what we're doing is we're changing the frequency and we're going up here. Hope, faith, love, compassion, empathy, understanding, helpfulness, charity. That all sounds so wimpy. You know, with the weight of the kind of problems I have. But a great tell. You know, I used to think that there was a kind of a cosmic guardian. That was my punishing God motif from when I was a kid. You do something bad and God's going to punish you. If that's true, I'm never going forgotten. So when I got hip to the fact that it's my choice that punishes me, I'm not punished for the thought, I'm punished by the thought. I'm not punished for the action, I'm punished by the action. So I can choose, and I don't know I'm doing it, but I choose to lie. When I lie, I automatically get a whole set of consequences that come with that. Now the consequences change as you increase the amplitude of the lying. In other words, the more you lie, the bigger the lie, the bigger the deception, the bigger the consequence. And all the consequence is trying to do is get me to see this isn't working. Not working. Try something else. I'll just try harder. I need better lies, clearly. I'm getting caught much too regularly. Right? When I lie, my world goes like this. It just shrinks. Because now, did you ever, I don't think I'm the only one, but I'll just start with me and see who nods. You know, the idea of compartmentalization, you know that idea? That is, you get to know this part of me, you get to know this part of me, you get to know this. At work, they see me this way, you know. At home, they see me this way. I'm someone different for every situation. The problem is also I make up stories for each compartment, and I can't keep them straight. So I had a little book. Who did I tell what? You know, told her I was adopted. Told her I was from Mars. Right. No, I had a book to keep my story straight because I drank and I couldn't remember what I told people, so I had to have my reference manual. Right? Then it got worse because then I started blacking out. Shit, you're just toast. Hi, how you doing? I can't believe you called me at 2:30 in the morning last night. Weren't you up? What did I say? You know, what was that about? I don't recall. So this idea that out of that is what this mess is coming from, that's a huge idea for me. Because it's saying you create your reality. And we all sit around going, God, I'd like to have a better life. I'd like to have a life that worked. When I came in to AA, every guy I looked at, I would say, I would gladly trade my life for yours. And it's been decades since I thought that. But I started out there. Everyone looked like they were having a much better time than I was. And they might have been. It might have been accurate. But the point is, I have a life today that I wouldn't trade for anything. And I've had that life for quite a while. And that's another thing. I didn't know I had that life for a long time. I didn't. Working with sponsees is helpful. Had a drunk come into our meeting Monday night. That was refreshing. It was. You know, I love it. They come in and they know everything and they're just blithering. And you go up to shake their hand and it's like, shit, don't breathe on me, man. I'm going to have to change my sobriety date. It was just like, yeah. And you still got time to go play pool. That's the thing. I like playing pool with my buddies. So I'm here. I said, well, you're lucky. The meeting's over and you still got time to go play pool. Shit. Thank you that I'm not that guy anymore. Thank you. You know, that's the gift you get out of sitting with sponsees. What am I resonating? I'm resonating to my recovery. I'm resonating to gratitude, thankfulness. You know, thank God I am not 3 months sober again. Thank God. I mean, I didn't want anything I had for about 3 years, but I'm just saying, just thank God I'm not there anymore. And what reminds me and reconnects me, what helps me remember, is I was that guy. And I can't have that experience if I'm not willing to carry this message to other alcoholics. And we forget. Alcoholism has an amnesic quality to it. And you can forget. I've seen guys do it. You've seen people do it too. Just forgot what it was like. I forgot. I just couldn't remember. And then this other idea appeared. I think I should celebrate my sobriety with a drink. I spent a good portion of last week with a guy by the world standards who's quite accomplished. And in several different careers. And he's an older guy and he can't get sober. I mean, literally, he's got this little place he goes to. And he buys the lie every time. I'm just going to have a couple glasses of wine. Every time. Can't remember. Never changed. Still got too much of that old resonance. You know, if drinking's an option, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it eventually. Because I cannot resist it. But if I change, here's another one of those things. Somewhere along the line, that whole thing fell away. Drinking is not an option. Suicide's an option. Homicide's an option. We're sure not going to ruin our sobriety. Assault and battery, but I'm not drinking. Your Honor, I had a rage out. I'm sorry, but I'm not drinking. I don't care about that. So, all right, let's take a break. If you want to hang out afterwards, we'll reconvene about 10 minutes. Thank you.